Hey guys, it's me, it's Queen Oseteru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask An Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red button and smack the bell. So, someone asked me the other day, do I think that Aquarius are prone to unconscious behaviors? Because our lives are so fast paced and we are constantly trying to run away from emotion, either suppressing it or repressing it or not dealing with it or something along those lines. So what I wanted to say is that I believe we're all susceptible to unconscious motivations. I think that we're all susceptible to that. The Aquarius maybe more so because of the reasons that she stated, but I think it's a problem with everybody because I see this a lot when I do readings. And I don't just see it with Aquarius. I see it with a lot of people. A lot of people are doing things unconsciously, like for example, a lot of people are in relationships for codependent reasons, but if you ask them why are they with the person, they'll say because I love them, or because something along the emotional, I love them, I care about them, we're there for each other. They'll say something like that. But then I'll look at the cards and see that they're together because they're codependent. You need them for something. You need them to look out for you. They need you to pay the bills. You need them to cover up for you. And they never even mention that in our interaction. And then when I point it out, it's like, oh, like they never even thought about it. So I'm like, I think we're all susceptible to these unconscious behaviors, especially in relationships. A lot of these behaviors come up in our relationships. Like I said to a guy one day, why are you cheating on your wife? If he told me he was in a happy marriage, he told me he was in a good relationship, he told me it was the healthiest relationship he'd ever been in. And I'm like, then why are you cheating on your wife? Silent. He was silent. And I'm sitting there waiting for his response. And he was like, I don't know about that. Like, again, unconscious behavior. So if you're in the best relationship of your life, you love your wife, nothing has ever been greater, but you're cheating, and you tell me this is the greatest relationship you've ever had. So there's obviously an unconscious motivation going on. And it came out a little bit later, much down the line from me talking with him and us doing sessions together. It came out that he was cheating on his wife because he felt like he was inadequate. He felt like he wasn't enough for her. And he had never realized this. He had never said this out loud to himself. So the more I do readings, the more I do consultations, the more I talk with clients, the more I realize that so many people are doing things out of these unconscious motivations. And it only takes for somebody from the outside to say, well, then why did you do this if it's this? And they're like, if they're honest, they'll most times tell you they don't know. Other times they'll make up an excuse. They'll try to snow job you. Sometimes I'll ask somebody why they do something and they'll give me some bullshit reason, and I know it's bullshit and they know it's bullshit. And then we'll talk a little bit more and we'll get down to the bottom line of really what's going on underneath. So I think that we all do this. I think that we hide from ourselves what we don't want to know about ourselves. You see? And I think that a lot of times if we just ask ourselves, that's why I tell people journaling is really good, because I find out a lot of my unconscious things through my journal and through my dream interpretations. And that's why I encourage people to do both of those things, because when you journal, you have a tendency to write things and you're like, did I just write that? And when you sleep and you have dreams, some of the times those dreams represent what's going on in your subconscious, and you might not even know what's going on. So those are two ways that I personally use to figure out what's going on with me. Like, what am I hiding from me? That's how I find out what I'm hiding from me. And I'm really self-aware now. I spent the last 15 years working on being self-aware because I wanted to know what the hell was going on with me. But for the first, the half of my life, I was not. I always suppressed emotion. I don't suppress emotions now. Now, if I have an emotion, I just deal with it. As uncomfortable as it may be, I just deal with it. I still don't like it, and it's still not comfortable, but I deal with it. Um, and another thing is that I am busy. I'm always busy. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm always busy, but I make time to check in with myself. So, as an Aquarius, if you are finding yourself having these issues because of those two things, that's something that you can do to change that around. As far as, suppressing emotion, you can teach yourself how to deal with your emotions, how to look them in the eye, how to deal with them. You can use therapy, you can use self help books, all the kinds of things I always talk about that I use to get to that space. Another thing you can do if it is because your life is fast paced, you can make sure that you find time for yourself. You make time for self care. I was talking to a woman today and I was like, I put myself on my agenda. I do an agenda every night before I go to bed, what I have to do the next day. And I put myself in there. Okay, this is my time for my nap. This is my time for journaling. This is when I'm going to write on my book. This is when I'm going to do this. I look at my schedule. I look at all the clients I have to see and all the classes I have to teach. And in between, I look for spaces where I can put me. And that's what I do. I put myself in those spaces. Like right after I do this video, it's time for my nap. And the alarm clock is going to go off and it says nap time. And it's going to flash at me. So if you're an Aquarius with a fast-paced life, you have to put into your agenda time for yourself. And that's another way you can deal with, like I said, falling into this trap, these unconscious, motivation traps. So those are two things that I do personally that really help me. And even if you're not an Aquarius, these kind of things can potentially help you through what, going through this. If you find yourself with unconscious behaviors and unconscious motivations, a lot of times you're not even going to know, honestly, unless somebody else points them out to you. But if somebody does point them out to you and you do see truth in them, you do see something in it, then that is something that you really want to explore, because those things can ruin what you have going on. Like the gentleman I was talking about who was cheating on his wife because he felt inadequate, eventually ended up losing her. After a while with all that cheating, he ended up with a baby. And she found out about the baby. He tried to hide it. I told him to stop doing what he was doing. He kept doing it anyway. He tried to hide it. She found out and she left him. So the healthiest relationship that he's ever had, the one person that's loved him, according to him, more than anybody else, he lost because of his own unconscious motivations that he knew about before it even happened. So I think that this happens a lot with all of us. Aquarius may be more susceptible in some cases, but I think we all have to look at this. We all have to look at that energy, and that's how you do it. Remember I talked about the dream interpretation? Your dreams show you what's going on with you subconsciously. They show you. A lot of times you may have a crazy dream, like I dreamt that my teeth fell out or something like that. That means something. I dreamt that I fell off the porch. That means something. I dreamt that there were 6 peanuts in the corner laughing at me. That means something. Everything means something. And you can either use, like I said before, the universal meanings that come up in a dream dictionary, or you can soul search and see what those symbols specifically mean to you. Sometimes it's a combination of both. But when you do that, you're able to see your subconscious, unconscious motivations. So I would challenge you to give yourself that. Give yourself the ability to see what is going on underneath the surface. You might be surprised. It may be things there. Like I might say this to you now, and you may have a dream tonight and write it down and find out that your subconscious is grappling with something that you didn't even know was there. You might have known it was there and buried it, or not known at all, or been dealing with it all this time, but really didn't know how it was affecting you. Okay? So, Aquarius, that's what we can do. We can change this, Aquarius. And everybody else in the zodiac, think about these things. Think about how you can change those for you. Think about if that will work for you. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I think that when it comes to unconscious motivations, a lot of us can use the same energy to fix that. Okay? I hope that helps. See you later.